Hello, and welcome to my fun and exciting stream here today. The Sprawl. This would normally be episode 2, but right now it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. And two of my players who aren't dealing with family stuff are ill, so it's just me and VidWizard this evening. Hello.
Hello.
We are mostly going to be talking about this. A little bit about the Sprawl. Since we went and played with the nice person here, Hamish. Oh shoot, I'm backwards on the stream. That's right. Hold on, I can fix this. Pro streamer swag right here. Whilst I do that, Jim, introduce yourself. Say hi to everyone.
Hi to everyone. All of one person watching right now. But hey, that's one more than we had a moment ago.
That's true.
I am VidWizard, VIDD Wizard. You can find me on pretty much everywhere: Instagram, Tumblr, Twitch. What's that Twitter thing? That tweet thing? Just kidding. Twitter.
Is it Tweetars?
The tweeters, and even Facebook, if you were so inclined. Oh, well, look at that.
I guess I can't unmirror myself.
You'd have to do it in something other than, because you're not mirrored in Appear. You're mirrored in OBS.
I'm mirrored in Appear on my side. I'm not mirrored in Appear on your side, because that's how Appear works. You can see it on the stream as PAX is backwards on the stream. I'm not doing raw input through OBS, because that's work. And it would break Appear, which is an even more amusing problem in and of itself. I'd have to cut a square out. Nice.
Well, I appear to be backwards as well.
Yeah, you're backwards to you. You're fine on the stream.
Well, no, on stream, I'm... Maybe, yeah.
No, you're fine on the stream. You just have to hold something up that has words on it, and it would show you that. Yep,
words.
You're fine.
I got my official catalog from Fantasy Flight.
Nice. I got...
In the mail. It actually got mailed to me.
I finally broke down and went through this, which we'll probably talk about some. Admittedly, probably a little hard to play on a stream. We shall see. So, I don't really have a format for today. I was initially, if we had at least 2 players, going to do downtime moves, and if you're up for it, we probably still can, just to explore those, and to give us an idea when we have to deal with it with all the rest of the group. Let's
start with PAX.
Yeah, I guess PAX is the easy go-to, the whole shirt and all.
Well, let's break it into categories. What was your... We had a couple. What was your favorite roleplay session? And you can't include the Ghost Court even though you didn't play.
Technically, we had 3.
We had 3 ourselves. But
Yep.
I'll count Ghost Court because there were people role-playing.
Yeah, but you weren't there for that, so it's hard for that. But
right, but that's fine. I want to ask, what was your favorite, and then I'll tell you my favorite, and we'll talk about it.
So, Ghost Court, while it was a role-playing game, and I should put down my knife, I actually would aim for it more like a party game style, more than an actual role-play. It had role-playing elements, but they're more like improv elements rather than... Like, if you've ever played the game Fun Employed, kind of the same tilt with a little bit more focus on the characters for the court. It was funny because if anyone is fans of one-shot RPG or campaign, James D'Amato was the judge for the first half of that, which was just hilarious. The other 3 games I played with you, so they were in order of playing was the Sentinels RPG, the Game of the Sprawl with Hamish, and the Vampire 5th Edition playtest. Of them, it is really a toss-up between the Sentinels game and the Sprawl game for my favorite. I'm just leaning towards the Sprawl, not because we play it, but more because it's kind of my style. A Supers game is fun and interesting, but with the limited scope of the Sentinels RPG as it stands right now, yes, it has six issues, but it has no structure for anything beyond those,
Not yet.
unless you tear it down and build it yourself, which is doable based on the way it's built. But you can't make your own characters. You can't. You would have to tear it all down and kind of deconstruct it. In which case, balancing it would be challenging, to say the least.
So to be fair to throw out there, we did play Sentinels RPG with the writer Chris Padell.
Yes.
It was his first. Go ahead.
Oh, who did say that their plan was to kickstart the game to get it to be a full setting rather than just a starter kit, which is what it is right now.
Well, and he showed us the print draft of the character creation that they're going to be releasing sometime. I'm guessing with the Kickstarter is part of what you'll get if you back it as a PDF of the character creation.
Yeah. He was a blast. Oh man, that guy was funny.
So obviously your order is Sprawl, Sentinel, and then Vampire.
Yeah.
So for me, it is a very close toss-up, but for the same reasons you gave, I'm going to say the same thing, that Sprawl, mainly because it was a smaller group playing, and we got into some very, very unusual stuff, which we'll go into in a minute. We'll tell a little bit about the story. But it's very close on the Sentinel. The Sentinel game, for starters, the starting kit for $20 was an outstanding. If anybody watching this or watching this later, sees it, they're going to have it online or something for you to order for $20. It is probably the best value starter kit I've ever seen for $20.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely get. Let's see, what we played for 2 hours,
2.5.
So that would get you. That was one episode, so that would get you 6 episodes right there.
We didn't even play all of the first episode. We played 2 parts.
No, we got through the end of the. We got through the end. That episode is a 2-part episode.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, we got through the end of it.
6 episodes. You're looking at 12 to 15 hours of content if you play straight through. 6 full color characters, 6 with all the stats and everything. Even a little mini GM screen on the inside of the fold. The cover that holds it all together. I got to give huge kudos to Greater Than Games for their presentation of that. I did hear they sold out of them, so.
Yep, they were completely sold out. I just missed what popped up on my screen there. Thank you for the host, Fig. Now that I have the right screen up.
But
I think one of my biggest critiques, actually, now that I've sat and thought about it, is there are only stats for combat in that game.
Well, in the starter game,
it's designed to be combat, and it is super, as I understand, but the only stats in that game are combat.
Well, the only stats, yeah, I guess, to some degree, yeah.
Which
I can see that.
I hadn't realized until I sat and thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm actually going to run Sentinels on Friday at a game-a-thon hosted by Games and Stuff in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
They do a charity event where they basically shut off their back room that's normally open to play from 8 a.m. till 3 a.m. 8 a.m. Friday morning till 3 a.m. Saturday morning. Doing a thing where called Game-a-thon, right? It's $40. They provide 2 meals, some snacks, but all the money goes to charity. And you can go in and run any games you want. I've already got some people signed up to play Sentinels at least once. I may end up running it twice if there's enough people interested.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think that's going to be my biggest hurdle if I ever even consider it. Is just it's built for a scene combat scene combat, scene combat.
Well, I mean,
They have the overcomes, but the overcomes are very rudimentary. It is still an early system. It is a system designed to play through the story that was built for the system right now, and then see where it goes from there.
yeah, I have looking at the quality of this. I have no doubts that they're going to make it a full-fledged RP role-playing system. We'll see some additions in how downtime and um, non-combat skill checks work.
Yeah.
To fill people in on the basic system, the system is built around the idea of using 3 dice for any roll. You have a dice that is your min, you have a dice that's your max, and a dice that's your mid. So when you roll the dice, the lowest number is your min, the highest number is your max. Obviously, the other one becomes your mid. And then depending on what you're doing, you take the mid, the min, or the max and add it to your skill to see if you succeed. Some things like grenades use all 3. You apply it 3 different targets. If you're and the dice are determined whether you're rolling a dice. Does it go down? I don't think it goes down as far as a D4. I think it's only D6.
It does go down to D4 for not your skills, but for the things you fight against.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if there is the potential that you could get knocked down a dice category for something.
Right. Right. So they use D4, D6, D8, D12. There's no D20, and I don't remember there being a D10.
There were D10s. I had a D10 on mine.
Okay, so there were D10s. Mine just went from 8 to 12.
Yeah, and your status categories were all D8s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yours were straight D8s, whereas mine was D10, D8, D6, as I got worse. And then I want to say Legacy, which I just listened to their podcast episode about Legacy, which learned a lot. I think Legacy's was actually the reverse, where it started D6, went to D8, and then if he was in major trouble, went to D10. So, just depends.
I need to grab their. I need to shuffle through my. So the amount of that little holster I was using. This is the amount of stuff that I ended up stuffing in that.
Holy cow! You are not kidding.
In that pocket over a 3-day period. Now I kept emptying it when we went back to the hotel, but somewhere in here. Oh, I think I found it. I think I just found the letter page one.
Yep.
So I need to. I couldn't find it today. I was searching for some downtime at work. But
if anyone's interested, the podcast is called The Letters Page. You can find it at theletterspage.libsyn.com. It's the writer and the artist, Adam Ribatero and Christopher Budell, no L, talking about each and every character in the Sentinels multiverse comics and games, and their backstories, how they link together, how they interact, etc. I'm about 2 episodes in of the 50 odd they have. It's entertaining to listen to, but there being our episodes, I have to piecemeal it into my. I have a lot to get through, to say the least.
Yeah. So, to finish up our description of the mechanics, there is a situational die that is determined by a counter clock during combat, and then you have your own condition clock. So, the 3 dice are generally the skill you're going to use, what you're trying to do, whether it be overcome, attack, or whatever, and then the situational dice, which is affected either by your condition or the situational condition, whichever one's worse. Those are the 3 dice you roll. And basically, flipping through the book briefly, when I got it home, it says you basically want 3 dice of each type, because eventually you could end up at some point rolling 3 dice 6, but you'll never need more than 3 dice 6, because one of those will become a date, but you could roll 3 die 8 or 3 die 12 or 3 die 10. So, but Chris was an amazing GM. How old is Izzy? 8, 7, 8.
I want to say 8.
So we had a father-daughter combination. Somebody I know in real life who we bumped into at PAX, and there were 5 of us. So we sat down and played, or 6 of us, because it was all people that I knew everybody at the table. John knew a couple of the people.
I'd met everyone at the table, so it all worked out.
Right. But Chris, we actually ended up doing 2 sessions because there wasn't anybody waiting. So we actually played both scenarios in the first book, and it was a ton of fun. Even with a younger RP player, she was very smart. The system was very, very, very kid friendly as far as it not being overly complicated for her to understand what she's doing. She was playing Unity, who makes bots out of scrap. So she had kind of a fleet of Dinobots going. She had a Dragon bot at one point and an Ice bot and some other things. But as John said, it barely got edged out by our Sprawl game.
Yep.
Literally, I thought about it for a while tonight, knowing we were going to talk about it. But I mean, we're talking hair's breadth, damn near a tie.
I mean, now that I've thought about, I appreciate the Sentinels game because it is very kid friendly and very there was a lot of possibility I'm seeing in it, but with some of the limitations of the system right now, it kind of solidified the difference between the two that I wasn't quite sure
right.
of
Well,
beforehand.
we are talking about a in progress system versus a completed system. So
True.
To just be fair to the Sentinel RPG, what they have so far is for their first offering. I mean, this is the first time anybody's seen it is at PAX Unplugged, and it's outstanding.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten starter kits from other games that are not even a tenth as filled out or as complete. I mean, God, what was the Blades of the Dark was? No, City of Mist. City of Mist
City Mist was very, very, but it had at least a little bit more than just the combat stuff.
Right. By the time it was really released, yes.
Yeah.
But again, it was missing huge chunks of how to build a world and how to build this, and it didn't have any real scenarios and
yeah. So I'm giving it that leeway, and with that understanding, it just clicked right now how I thought about it. I will definitely recommend it to anyone looking for a
supers,
low barrier to entry supers game.
Or a low barrier to enter RP game. If you have especially younger players who you want to get introduced into rolling dice and playing characters, it is a phenomenal system for.
Oh yeah, there's that. Although I've heard good things about what is that game? I think it's like No Thank You Evil. Yeah, No Thank You Evil. I've heard good things about.
Somebody I know ran that for their kids.
Yeah.
I
don't have any experience on that, but I have heard nothing but surprisingly amazing reviews.
So moving on to the Sprawl, our number 1 pick.
Yep.
Our second game of the day. I guess apparently we're going to talk about these in order of us playing them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it works well.
Hamish, we got a 2-hour session with Hamish, and we had 2 other people at the table with us. I was a driver. You were a tech.
Yep.
And I got to pick a VTOL craft.
We had a hacker and a... Oh, what was the last guy? Was he Infiltrator? Because that wasn't Killer. No, Hunter. Hunter, that's right.
Yeah, so we were a little combat light as far as like overall just, gun power.
All things considered, other than the very last, like the climactic battle, I don't think we fired a shot. We kind of only barely fired a shot that entire game, which for a Cyberpunk game is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the setup was that we were hired to retrieve data from a corporation. Was the scenario. It was like we had retrieved data for the scenario. we went through and made our connections, and we made our, kind of fleshed out our characters. And I know John's got the. We'll have the images that he'll probably link.
Yeah, I'm trying
from
to
Hamish.
bring them
Hamish posted
up.
his notes in his drawing. So
Hold on, let's see here.
the piece that John and I both agreed after the game, right after the game, that we really liked, the takeaway we really liked, was after we kind of got the characters fleshed out, and we had helped flesh out the world of what we needed to do. Hamish put us on a 5-minute timer to come up with a game plan, a physical, real life 5-minute timer for the four of us to decide how we were going to get into this building, get the data, and get out.
That was probably the most phenomenal idea I've seen. I'm surprised I've never thought about it myself, but I'm like, you know what? That's great.
We could do in a regular game session. You could go a little long, a 7-minute timer maybe, or a 10-minute timer. But I do have to say that the timer added a let's not consider every idea under the sun. We kind of picked one and then fleshed it out. For those of you keeping score at home, our fleshed out idea was to sneak into the through the basement, through the parking lot in the basement. 3 of them were going to sneak in to get the. There we go. Nice overlay.
I've added in the picture from Twitter, which, if anyone's interested, I will also link in chat. And when I do show notes for this on YouTube, it will be linked on YouTube as well. That is what characters we were playing, and I think our links. And what we got in our part of our what was it? The opening phase, the legwork phase. There we go.
Right.
I know the thing.
Right. So I dropped off our characters, went to leave, and like any good plan, it immediately went to shit.
Yep.
I got stopped, handed the guy the ID of the driver that I stole. Excuse me, borrowed. Technically borrowed. I did return it.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. There's the building. The little falling guy on the right-hand side will be explained in a moment. But yeah, you can see the parking load. The data we needed was on the 16th floor, where the secured data was. Well, I made a quick getaway, basically by driving away and getting the car shot at. The rest of the crew went upstairs to get into the data storage. I went and dropped off the car I borrowed and ID, and even gave the guy back his clothes. So he woke up with a pile of clothes next to him, and basically I drugged another driver to borrow his car and his clothes and his badge. Wait, I didn't have his badge anymore. The security guard kept that.
Yep.
Yeah, drove off without that. Oh well.
He did have some minor paint scratches from
bullet shots,
weird bullets that were fired at you, but
jumped in the VTOL craft. The idea was that they were going in through the door but out through a window. They were going to be leaping out of the window, and I was going to be there to catch them in the aircraft, so that we can make a quick getaway. I will say that the catch part worked better than expected.
Yeah,
I expected 3. I got 6. As another corporation helicopter had some. What were those things? The drone, not drones. They were.
It was a kill team. It was a kill team sent after one of the other characters who had history and ended up rolling not so well, and as such, the people who were hunting him found him.
Right. So I'm expecting the weight of 3 people. I suddenly get 6. I tell them all to hold on. Of course, promptly the tech doesn't hold on. He rolled bad. Fell out the door. You did fall out the door with one of the bad guys.
Yep, I took someone with me. That's what it's all about.
Then he Batman style grappled the bottom of the plane, but the bad guy grabbed his legs. So now we have this craft, him hanging, and then the guy hanging off the bottom. So I decided to start basically I start flying this really tight loop to make them swing out, and then I clipped the open window with the bad guy. Thankfully, I rolled high enough that I didn't clip the tech either, but yeah, we basically cut the bad guy in half using a
Yeah,
building.
which got him off of me. Unfortunately, the jolt kind of made me let go of the grappling hook, so I fell again. So falling twice in one time, not so fun. We didn't do the crazy heroic thing of having the jet come and get me because we were also running out of time. So I did the I have extra gear approach and went, I know his piloting skills. I brought a parachute. Parachuted down, took some damage because that's how things work, and we escaped with what we came for, plus all got away safely.
Well, there was the part, so there were still two guys left in the craft, and so the two PCs that were in there, I said over earbuds, I was like, "You guys are really going to want to hold on for this," and they both clipped into carabiners inside the plane so that they were anchored. And then when I started that tight spiral, I basically flung cotton candy
Woo!
style, flung the other guys out of the craft. So back to my two passengers. So yeah.
Yep, it went surprisingly well. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get to do the get paid move, so I was curious how that would have ended up, but we went a little long with our character creation, so we lost a little bit of time in the end. Not a big
Yeah.
deal. Um, I almost wish I'd had the opportunity to play again, but we did a bunch of other stuff and I didn't mind. We ended up catching Hamish a second time at the Greater Than Games room, chatted for a few minutes. Was good to see him as well as the what is her name?
Holly?
I follow her on Twitters, and she tweeted at me just a few minutes ago. Well, where is TweetDeck? There it is. Um, Dana.
Dana.
Um,
By the way, you still have the picture overlaid, just so you know.
oh, whoops. Whoop-a-doop-a-doop.
Not a big deal. Just so you can't see you.
I turned it off, but I didn't transition it, so it didn't turn off. Um, who wrote the? There is a section of the November metric, which is the settings book for the Sprawl, and she wrote the AI cat section, which is awesome. I kind of restricted you guys from playing that one just because I kind of wanted standard characters to start off with to get my feet wet. And then, should we ever want a fill-in, that is always an option.
AI cat?
Yes. Basically, a company implants an AI construct into a cat, meshing the cat brain and the AI brain, and they
Cat?
become
Like
super,
house cat?
yes, like house cat. And they become intelligent cats.
So I can play an intelligent cat.
You can play an intelligent cat. It's in the November metric. Let's see if I can bring it up here. Streaming stuff.
Seems like a really boring character to play. I will lay here. I will clean myself. I
Oh,
will meow for food.
you're kind of roboting, FYI.
Am I again?
Yep.
Dang. Hold on. Let me see if I can try something. See if this will work.
Cyberkittens. Project Bakaneko.
Hey, how's that? Am I sounding better?
Not really.
Well, this is supposed to be my. Does that sound any better?
It just kind of clicks in and out. No big deal.
Well, apparently I wasn't using my snowball.
Huh. Weird. It sounds like it
Uh,
hasn't changed any, so it still doesn't sound like you're using your snowball.
really?
You might have to switch it in up here and have it freak out for a second. while I'm at it, I can add filters. I can't hear you. Use this while we have technical difficulties here. And I work to bring in the...
Okay, how's that sound?
Oh, much better.
I did not realize for some reason when I did my Windows update, it decided to change all my friggin' settings.
Huh. That explains it. So I'm gonna bring up an overlay right now just to show people the once cat, as it were. Position. So to steal the summary so well written, although I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, Munitions Research Laboratory specializes in unique flesh solutions for traditionally technological problems. Remote-controlled dogs, drone eagles, explosive rats, monkeys programmed to do tasks in locations too dangerous for humans. Their main repertoire is lucrative, but the real magic is the exure. Nearly independent labs where 1,000 wretched miscarriages and stillbirths might result in one unorthodox yet viable variant. For example, the Bacagalupi Genomic Lab has produced the chameleon cat, a misnomer because the creatures didn't so much blend in with their surroundings as actually ripple unnervingly in and out of reality, never able to stabilize the effect in live subjects. The CC's basic research was sold to JMLR's sister defense corp, Ymir Inc., and developed into the best stealth suits currently available in the market.
Interesting. Hopefully I sound a lot better now that she's using my snowball.
Much better. And then
I actually got a Chrome message saying, "Hey, something in your operating system is causing your audio to fail. Restarting Chrome should fix this."
Aha! That explains it. So, I highly recommend if anyone is interested in the Sprawl, please pick up the November metric. Has a bunch of cool settings. Has a lot of interesting stuff, up to and including AI cats. Definitely take a look at that.
Okay, so back to our review of PAX. The last game we'll mention is the vampire game, and we're going to mention it very briefly because one, I didn't play the whole thing.
Yeah, you had to bounce, and I played through all of it. I had a pretty good time. I know you have mixed feelings on it, mostly due to the GM. I think that was in part he was getting into the groove of it. Had also been running it several times, so it's one of those catch-22s in that regard.
Yeah. Well, when you sit at the table and the GM's first words are, "I'm really tired, so forgive me if I'm a little lackadaisical."
Yep.
Just not a good way to start the.
Surprisingly, he played up his characters rather nicely, so he just worked his way back into the groove of it.
I'm willing to give a bit of the doubt on that because, like I said, I didn't stay for the whole thing. I had another thing with my wife that I needed to go do, so I bounced about halfway through.
Yeah. The system, I'm intrigued. It is White Wolf, which is kind of, I would say the third game I played was a White Wolf game.
Second game for me.
And while I find Vampire is interesting, the setting is a little bit abrasive. No, harsh, maybe. I get it's the world of darkness, but I guess some of the games I play for an escape from dark and dreary. It's why I tried a game of Trail of Cthulhu and just could not get into it. Trail is the gumshoe variant.
Got it.
And dark and depressing is just not the game I'm there to play for. It may make for an interesting story, and it may be great for some people. I'm playing games to play cool, awesome people doing badass things, so it never really worked for me.
I was intrigued by the changes they made to the dice, to the mechanics with getting rid of the potency level and adding in the hunger system.
I thought the hunger system was quite good.
Yeah, with the you add, for those who've not played Vampire, you normally use a pile of you use a handful of die 10s. If you replace, is it for every point above of hunger, you replace one dice with a red dice?
Yes.
Was there a max of that, or just however many hunger you have?
You have a max level of hunger, which I think
Right.
was 5, 6?
I think it's 6.
5 or 6, one of the others. And then when you've maxed it out, you would have a frenzy.
You risk frenzy.
Yeah,
you risk frenzy. Yeah. Which in the whole thing, like if you rolled low on your red dice, it could create a problem. If you rolled high, you would succeed, but it was messy.
Well, if you critted on the red die, it would be messy.
Right. It would be a messy. And I, at one point, critted 2 zeros on my red dice, and I don't know what came of that. I forget. It was
I forget.
Lobbed the guy across the room or something. I don't remember.
All things.
Oh no, that's right. That's right. I put a bullet right through his head. It blew it from the back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Physically blew his face out through the front of his helmet. That's right.
Yeah, the game was fun. The setting is interesting. I would have to kind of dig a little deeper into the system. We kind of encountered, because one of our compatriots who was with us when playtesting games really tries to break the game, and did on a couple occasions have some questions that weren't answered that we had to house rule on spot. It was entertaining. It was fun. But
he does that very well, and I actually commend him for it, because it's, we're there playtesting a game. The one thing you want to do is see if you can break it.
Yep, and we did pretty good. We did a pretty good job of that. Not like epically so that it was unplayable, but there were some instances where we had to pause and go, "How does this rule actually work?" But for the most part, it doesn't feel that much of a departure from White Wolf in general. Which, if you're a big White Wolf fan, isn't a bad thing, I guess. But, whoa. No, you're adjusting your camera. Otherwise, I just wasn't really blown away by it. I was intrigued. It was fun. It was nice. It was nice to have played 3 role-playing games, but I almost regret not hunting down another one. But I knew it was going to be difficult because, which we'll go back to when we start actually talking about the convention itself. There were some faults with the convention. It's a first PAX though, so things happen.
Agreed that there was definitely things that could have been better.
Yep. But I ended up filling out the you should have gotten the survey for it.
I did, and I put in the things that I also put in the stuff that I thought could have been improved.
Yep, I was very detailed on that one. But going back to the Vampire 5th, if you're a White Wolf fan,
you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. Yeah.
The changes are minor. The changes are minor, and all it really does is kind of unblock. That was the biggest thing for me playing Vampires. The potency level. Your bad guys got to a point where your good guys couldn't fight them because you didn't have enough potency. I gamed ways around that. I actually created an item that would allow you to go up 1 potency level.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did hide part of it in a fish tank that was full of holy water, which was really funny when the guy went to stick his hand in to get it and took a crap ton of damage.
I feel like the game got relatively well streamlined, but I also felt like it was a bit of a challenge because they explained a lot of the bits of the rules for the characters, but didn't have a handout that you could reference. Yeah. So while at the beginning of the game he explained what my powers were, after that completely disappeared out of my head.
He did it off the top of his head. He didn't have a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to ask 2 or 3 times, what's my power do again?
Yeah. So That's less of a fault of the GM, more of a fault of the playtest documentation, for lack of a better
The
word.
playtest team should have thought about these are the things people need to have.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. Like he was like, yeah, don't write on this sheet, but you can write on this other sheet. Well, why isn't that sheet laminated so I can't damage it?
That's why I'm a huge fan of the way Hamish built his characters and sheets for the Sprawl game. He built out whole character sheets that were just designed for the one shot. They had all the rules condensed down, really easy to chew on, basically, and really good
Yeah.
handouts. So, extra
Well,
bonus there.
and Sentinel obviously with starter kit came with really pretty handouts.
Oh yeah,
So
that was
yeah.
completely designed for that. So yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of our role playing games for the weekend.
Yep.
Like I said, 5th edition. If you're a vampire fan, get it. If you're a White Wolf fan, get it. It felt streamlined. It felt a whole lot easier to me than previous versions, but I might check it out digitally. It's not a book I'll actually invest in for a physical copy.
So, as an honorable mention of any other role playing games you saw, even though we didn't play, that
Let's see.
get one.
Yeah. Speaking of, I did get one. I got Paranoia, which this is backwards, so it doesn't help anyone. But imagine this is facing the other way.
Can't you go into your camera? Wait, can't you go into the Logitech camera and just hit mirrored?
I didn't find a mirrored option when I was looking.
It's under advanced.
Yeah, it isn't. Whoa, shit! I hit default. That was not what I wanted. Usually, I have to redo all my settings here. Yeah, I don't have a mirrored option on my advanced.
You should right below. Hang on, let me bring it up.
Ooh.
So, if you go to, do you have webcam control, which has the little dial and all that?
Kinda. It's very different in the advanced setting for because you have the 920, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the 922. The settings are slightly different.
Well, at the bottom I have anti-flicker off, NTS, PAL, and then on the right I have normal or mirrored.
Yeah, I don't have a mirrored option, so no big deal. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So, with Paranoia, I'd watched the game that Geek and Sundry did, that Ivan Van Norman ran, which, amusingly enough, he was on my flight home.
I saw him at the con. At one point, he was carrying a pile of boxes, and I'm like, well, apparently, being a famous YouTube star does not get you help carrying boxes.
Yeah, I was almost tempted to go say hey on the plane, but with how I felt on the plane, I was like, nope. We all just want to get the F home, which and that was its own special snowflake I'll talk about towards the end. But I'm looking forward to playing that. The unfortunate problem is with all the handouts and stuff that are built into that game, it's probably designed more to be a in-person game. So I may or may not be able to stream it. We'll see, and we'll see how things play out. Regardless, it's a fun semi-competitive, semi-cooperative role-playing game. So,
well, I will say that the book that I found that I did not pick up, only because I was already kind of over my budget, but I will be picking up the PDF, was Pugmire.
Ah, yes, you were showing me that.
Pugmire, and I will post a link to the PDF from SUBv3RSION. Is basically years in the future, dogs have evolved because man helped dogs evolved into sentient creature, bipedal creatures, and sorry, I'm fighting a cat here.
No worries.
Let me find the book. Here we go. So I will put this in the. Well, I'll put it both in the here. I'll put it there in the chat. of Twitch.
Nice.
So, the whole deal is you're playing you want to be a good dog. You are playing a dog, and they have breeds, and then they have professions. So you can be like, a Rottweiler hunter, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. I like the art. I don't think I would be all that interested in playing it. I mean, it's basically a fantasy game.
Right. Yeah. It is more just for the humor value. I think it'd be a lot of fun to play as a one-shot type thing where, like if you're doing a con or a game day where you want something different, playing, pre-gen characters, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think it'd also be great for kids because just the whole Church of Ban, says, be a good dog, protect your home, be loyal. Those are true. These are the words of Ban. Sister Prakasa Kali, shepherd of the Church of Ban. I mean, it's so tongue in cheek. How could you not enjoy playing a one shot of that, at least for a little while?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my draws to things like Mouse Guard. Mouse Guard, I think, would be fun both either as a one shot or as a full campaign. On the flip side, things like what Christian and Alex ended up playing were Torchbearer. That one intrigues me just because it is incredibly crunch heavy. I think I have a copy of it right here. It has a phenomenal look and feel to it, just like the old school D&D books. It's kind of a semi-matte cover. It's a great book, and it's pretty much over time your characters just get worse and worse and worse rather than better and better and better. So interesting concept. Looks like it's fun to try.
Well, just for reference, Pugmire's on sale for Black Friday.
Nice.
For $12.44.
For the PDF copy?
Yep. So nice. I will be picking it up today probably.
Other games I saw that I was kind of interested in. I saw a physical copy of Headspace, which is another Powered by the Apocalypse cyberpunk game where you all play different elements of one character. So that was something intriguing to look into. I have a digital copy of that already, so I didn't need to invest in a physical one. What else did I see? I don't think there was a ton of other role-playing games I was in the hunt for that weekend, just because for the most part I'm good. There's a lot of stuff I'm waiting for, things like the Expanse RPG, which Green Ronin's building into the age system, and
I mean,
there's something else I'm looking forward to, but I don't remember what it is.
We did stop by the Green Ronin booth. We got their atypical, hey, we're still working on it. We know we've kind of let you down on the whole fantasy age system. The guys seemed honest enough, but at the same time, it's just basically blowing smoke up our ass again about because there's supposed to have been the whatchamacallit, core book, Will Wheaton's cyber. I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
Oh my god.
I know I'm blanking on it. The thing is I've run that at two different cons and two different game days.
Yeah.
So I love the game. I love the mechanics, but there's just like they released the Beast Area. That was the last thing they released. They have not released diddly for Fantasy Age as a whole.
Yeah.
In over a year. I mean, they released Blue Rose, and they've obviously been supporting Blue Rose pretty well because there's a couple things for it. But they just kind of really dropped the ball on Fantasy Age.
I think one of the downsides we had with PAX Unplugged is it being a new convention. You got kind of limited. All the vendors were testing the waters. They weren't spending a ton of money on their booths because they didn't know what the convention was going to be like. They didn't know what the attendance was going to be. They probably planned their booths before the tickets sold out, which they didn't sell out. The weekend pass didn't sell out until like what, 2-3 weeks beforehand.
Yeah, sometime in October.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of companies could have had better representation at the convention and just sort of held back just in case. I felt we got really lucky with Greater Than Games because they pulled out all the stops and then some.
Oh yeah, they went all out because they had the scavenger hunt that we did.
They had a
We
whole
basically
booth.
yeah we basically lived in their room. I
Yeah,
mean,
they had a booth and a room. They were demoing till way late at night. They had designers and writers for not all of their games that they were showing off, but probably
several.
most of them.
Well, they
Um,
had Nicole and Anthony for Laser Riders. They
yep.
had Chris and Adam for Sentinels.
And one other guy for Sentinels.
Yeah, I forgot what the other guy did. And then what was his name? The guy that plays Absolute Zero. Well, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then they had somebody. They did have some people from like Fate of the Elder Gods, and then some
I
of
don't
the
know.
other
I don't
stuff.
know if Spirit Island had representation,
I
but
don't know.
I only kind of looked at it and didn't really get too deep into it. Um,
Yeah,
we played a ton of their games and I had a blast. A lot of them don't really translate well into my board gaming group, so I didn't end up purchasing anything of theirs. Um,
I will. Laser Razor is one that I could have fun with. I
if
think
they come
the
out with an expansion and I start doing more bigger groups, I might consider it myself. But for the
yeah.
time being, the base game, meh. It was fun, but not a lot of legs.
Yeah. So let's move on to that. That gives us a chance to transition to board games.
Yep. Which
So
we did a ton of that too.
we did a ton of board games, both in the con, out of the con, at night. I will say, hands down, my favorite game of the weekend was Dice Throne.
You've been saying
Hand,
that.
Hands down, it was my favorite. I mean, it was just it's a Yahtzee style rolling game. It kind of reminds me of the first time I played King in Tokyo. How much fun I had playing King in Tokyo.
Hmm.
I played a 1v1 and then I played a 3v3. The 3v3 is a little slow. But then again, we were playing at 11 o'clock at night after a con and we were doing a lot of bullshitting. So it's not like we couldn't have sped the turns up a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that I'd play over a 2v2 in that right now. Not because the game is bad, it's just there's definitely a lag between because the way the turns go is it bounces. So I go, they go, the person beside me goes, they go, the person beside them goes, and they go, and it comes back around.
Yeah. So there's
There is
there's seemingly a lot of downtime in that game.
there is a very cool mechanic in the team setting in that you share one hit point pool.
Hmm.
You only have one hit point dial. The person in the middle for the 3.3 player game does the dial.
Hmm.
And they roll randomly to see who actually is going to try to respond to the damage and stuff. So they can't say, I'm going to attack you, and then everybody jump on the weakest person.
Yeah.
You roll a dice for it.
Hmm.
So they roll it, and like you could end up being the one that's actually getting any of the effects they do, or rolling your defense to see if you can prevent damage. So it has a very nice teamwork mechanic to it.
Hmm.
And like I said, I think a 2v2 would probably be just about perfect.
So I only caught the last, I would say, 15 minutes, maybe 20 of your game. It looked interesting, though it didn't really grab me as a spectator.
Yeah, you have to play. It's definitely a play a game because you're dealing with a tableau and your powers and you're rolling dice Yahtzee style.
Yeah,
So
there was a lot going on when I showed up, and it was kind of hard to
yeah,
parse as
yeah.
external. So I kind of just sort of glossed over, and while it looked interesting, I was like, okay.
Um,
Um, as far as top game for me, this is a tough one.
board game, top board game.
Top board game, yeah. If you could argue it as a board game, Ghost Court is up there, but it being an improv game kind of puts it in the middle point in between. Um, oh, that is a tough one. I ended up taking home three? Yeah, 3 games. I brought home Cat Lady, Seven Wonders Duel, and 4 games. The Fugitive and Word Domination. I have finally played. Well, I played 3 out of the 4 that I purchased, which was I played Cat Lady, I played Word Domination, and I played Fugitive. Of the 3 I brought home that I played, I am a huge fan of Fugitive.
Well,
It's
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 Burgle Brothers for 2.
actually no, because Burgle Brothers is cooperative. The goal with Burgle Brothers: sneak in the building, take the stuff, get away. With Fugitive, it's one of you is the marshal, one of you is the fugitive. The fugitive is moving from face down card, hideout, hideout, hideout. Each of them are all numbered, which if you look through all the cards, it actually tells an interesting story of the getaway, which is even more fun. But the marshal is using clues based on the rules of how the fugitive can place cards, what they can do extra to place those cards, go a little bit further ahead along the chain and whatnot to try and suss out what the number is of the card of each one that's face down. So far, between me and my girlfriend, the marshal seems to have an advantage because of the 3 games we played of it, the marshal always wins. So we may be doing something incorrectly, or we haven't sussed out the best way to play the fugitive yet. We'll see. Word domination, I got 1 game of that in. It is a very spacious game, which is a little bit annoying, so I can't quite bring it as a play at a dinner table game. Um, it's got a lot of interesting mechanics that I'm looking forward to digging into a little bit further. I played the very minimal game of that, but honestly, my go-to so far, my winner of the con, has to be Cat Lady. It is simple. It has great art. It's easy to teach to an 8-year-old. It took me 5 minutes to teach to my girlfriend. Um, if you've ever played Sushi Go, it's basically the same scoring mechanic for the most part. All the scoring mechanics seem about
Mm-hmm.
on par. There's a couple of multiplication setups that, if you have some of the better cats, it gets a little bit more complicated. But it's fun. It's simple. It's easy. It's a blast.
You're collecting cats and you're trying to feed them and get costumes and toys for them.
Yep.
So you're trying to be a good parent to your
To be
fur
a crazy
babies.
cat lady, basically. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's a
you're trying to
blast.
be a cat lady.
And it was
We
like
put,
$25, which
it was only
is a
25.
cheap board game for how much I'm getting out of it so far.
Yeah, we picked it up on Saturday. I showed it to Leah, my wife, and we picked it up on Saturday. We played it Saturday night, and I know that you and Christian and I think Alex all went and got a copy on Sunday.
Yep.
Surprisingly, they had copies still because they sold out on Friday. She said they had another case to open of 100 on Saturday, but they still had like 10, maybe 6 copies left when we were 7 copies left when we got yours.
Yeah, I think it was more like 5 copies left when we got mine.
Yeah, Christian had already gotten his, and I think Alex went and got his right after that.
Yep.
But it is a fun little game. Actually, we're taking it tomorrow for Thanksgiving to our friend's house because conveniently they have an 8-year-old.
Yep.
But it is a fun little game. I brought home 3 games. Well, 4 if you count Cat Lady, but technically that came home with Leah.
Yeah.
I picked up 3 games. I picked up Widower's Woods, the adventure game we played Friday night, which it's not bad. It's a 4-player co-op game where you're playing in the Iron Kingdom world of Unleashed, where you're playing some monsters. It's compatible with the Undercity, which I'll pick up at some point, just so I have more characters too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. It has an adventure book. You set it up. You're trying to complete a goal. We were able to do ours for not easily, but we completed it. I picked up Widower's Woods and the expansion for it, mainly because it's never been available retail. It was Kickstarter, online purchase, or con purchase.
Yeah. I kind of regret we didn't, speaking of Kickstarter, going back to your stories about it, I kind of regret not going back to playing the train heist game.
Oh, yes. I wish we'd gotten back over to play. I kickstarted Railraider Infinite is the name of the game, and I actually have it. We played a very short demo of it, and it is what we played of it was fun, but it was caught at a time when we were trying to get to another event, and we were going to go. I went back twice, actually. I went back by there twice, but they were busy both times.
Yeah. I ended up being super busy I don't think I had a free minute other than when we were out eating the entire con. I was always doing something.
I will say, when I left you Sunday, I stopped. They actually had the Game of Thrones Catan was empty.
Oh, nice.
And for learning the demo, I got a pen that I was like, I should run this over to Jonathan, because it is a sheep wearing a bandit mask with a rainbow behind, like this rainbow color behind it.
What?
Hang on. Let me grab it. Hold on. Let me grab it.
Go for it.
So this was the total surprise. They didn't even mention, but this is the pen.
Nice.
Let's see if I can smooth that out a little more.
I am sufficiently jealous. That is super cool.
Isn't that cool? Sheep with a bandit mask and the Catan sunset. It's not really rainbow colors. It's Catan sunset and water.
Yeah. And the Catan hex going too.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah, and all I had to do was sit down for 10 minutes and learn about the Game of Thrones Catan, which has some interesting mechanics to it, because you have to defend the wall and stuff, working together, or everybody loses. So while you're playing against each other, you're also playing cooperatively to keep the wildlings and the whatever White Walkers out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's got a little interesting wall mechanic, and there's stuff going on the other side. And anytime you score, they move. So they only move when you score. So by the time they get strong enough to really come over the wall, ideally you would be strong enough to repel them.
Yeah.
So it's not like turn-based where they keep moving every turn and then you're trying to play catch-up. So, but other than that, yeah, I wish we'd gotten back over to play Railraider Infinite one more time. I did play it enough to know that I'm glad I kickstarted it. Even with my disappointment in the presentation of the materials in the box. The Ninja Division could have done a little better job on the box.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the box itself, but the inside. Literally, all of the minis came in a bag.
Yeah,
like none of them are protected. None of them are in any kind of tray. In the retail version, they all come laying in a nice little tray. But we got extra, so it's like, well, you made a bigger box. Why don't you make an insert that fits in that box, you dipshit?
It's more money.
Yeah, well, that's why I won't be backing on a Ninja Division or Soda Pop Minis Kickstarters anytime soon.
Overall, I would say the con was amazing.
I had a great time. It was.
I'm looking forward to next year. I'm planning to go next year. We'll see how it actually plays out. I will at least buy tickets.
Yeah, well, being it's only an hour and a half for me. At a minimum, I can go one day, if not more. But I think doing the Airbnb that Airbnb method that Christian did might be the way to go.
Yeah, if we can get close, it's not a big deal.
Main City
Um,
was what, 3 blocks?
yeah, it wasn't far at all, which pretty good as far as I was concerned. I was that was one of the options I was looking at initially when I was first buying tickets, but I didn't have enough plans in place, and I didn't necessarily want to, you know, settle all things when, as case had it, the person I bought a ticket for couldn't come. So I settled it differently and it worked out well with you. So that
Well, it
was
worked out
a
really well because like Leah not being able to go, and it ended up being kind of a Beard Bros weekend trip.
yeah.
I mean, she came up on Saturday, but she wasn't there for the whole thing. I think she'll. I think she's gotten enough of an experience that she now knows what to expect when we do the next one. Because she had said at one point, she goes, "Yeah, she's like, there's points where I've been like, I'm going back to the hotel to be quiet, and I'll catch up with you later."
I think compared to the other PAXs I've been to, and I have been to West, South, and East, um, I like the more intimate nature of West. I feel like while they've expanded beyond their physical capabilities, everything seemed to be in its own little room, away from other things, not crammed into a giant, whatever you call the like the main ballrooms of a convention center. Um, the
Convention
free,
hall.
yeah, the convention hall, the free play area in Unplugged was loud. It was,
That is the one of the things I commented on is the fact that they put no carpet down around
yeah,
the booths. Gen Con and Origins both. I was there for setup because I was helping do demos, and literally next to last thing they did was roll out carpet to cover the concrete to help dampen the noise.
yeah. That
And
building is loud.
yeah,
Um,
the big hollow
playing
room.
games in the free play area, you're you're talking at a high volume. You're gonna run out of voice after a while, and if anyone's talking to you, you have to be listening really good, or at least I had to, anyways.
No, I agree with you. I did notice that as we migrated like over by the wall, it was better. The Saturday night game that we were playing over by the wall was better, and I think it
Hmm.
may have been because we were right by the wall, and so it actually allowed us to have our own sounds kind of bounce.
Yeah, you're not in the deep echo chamber.
Right.
And
But
hello, Dylan. Welcome.
hey, Dylan.
Um, the offshoot rooms were a lot better.
Yeah.
Though having a bunch of people demoing Vampire Fifth in one room was a little bit also loud. Um, like I said, that was one of the things I liked about Prime. When you walked into a free play RPG room, there were maybe like 5 tables, and you could talk at a generally accepted room voice, inside voiced as it were, and not have issues. Um,
Only time I had trouble in one of the off rooms was in the Greater Than Games rooms when I was sitting down to try Spirit Island. The group behind us playing Sentinels of the Multiverse apparently did something really dramatic, and they decided to yell, basically cheer at the top of their lungs for the better part of like 10 minutes. I mean, it was
wow.
longer than like, so you got to the point where I had to tell the guy teaching, I'm like, I can't hear you at all. And he's like, yeah, I think they just won. I'm like, well, whatever it is, it's been going on for a few minutes. So give them a minute to die down. But even that, in the grand scope of the weekend, was very minor.
Yeah. But I think my biggest thing was it's really hard to find open role playing games at that convention. They
Yes.
have they had the signups which were their own special cluster.
Yeah.
Um, and most of
Yes.
that was specifically limited to the bigger events, the D&D games, the Adventures Guild games, the White Wolf game, there were a
Indie
couple
games.
the indie games had their own much smaller line, which was nice. But the big games, which were the ones we ended up initially getting in line for when we were signing up for Sprawl, which we then had to go to the indie games, it was a lot easier. Um, the big games, you would get in a line with what? There had to be 200, 300 people in that line.
Yeah, it was a third of the
I had
convention
no
hall
idea what
long.
was going on.
Yeah, and the fact they only do signups, I mean, I get they don't want somebody coming in Friday and signing up for everything, and not have any signups on Saturday or whatever, but there's so many, I mean, they were scanning our badges for checkout of games. It's like, why the hell can't I, why can't I go online on the app and sign up for a game or put myself on a wait list,
Yeah.
Putting in my number and then text me if it's like, hey, your game's coming up. Just
Or if anything, there should have been a place that you could have just been like, I want to play this type of game. If any games come up and they have an open spot, just message me and I will come running.
right.
That would be an awesome system. If they built a system like that, I would be signing up for every game I could. And probably spending on my entire time doing role-playing games at the con. As it stands, I got into the games that I wanted to get into because I knew they were there. There was never an instance where I stumbled upon a game that needed a player.
Right. And that's the big thing. Like, yeah. And even in the board games, I mean, except for the free play hall for board games, and even then you had to get really lucky with somebody. I mean, I guess they did have the area for the first look.
Yeah.
That had signs that said looking for player, looking for teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like that little first look area is the only place I actually saw anything where it said like looking for player, looking for teacher type thing, where you could sit down again and go, hey, I want to learn this. I'm looking for a teacher, and hope somebody drifts by.
Yeah, but the problem ends up being if you do it anywhere else in the tabletop free play, which had to be, like 4 acres of tables.
Yeah.
Unless you're eagle-eyed, you're never going to spot that sign.
Right. The signs weren't even for that area. I mean, there wasn't, like I said, that's except for that little area, it wouldn't function on the bigger scale.
Yeah. It definitely did not scale well. So I don't know any good solutions. I understand that they got to pack as many people as they can in there because, as it stood, even with that amount of tables, it was still hard to find an empty table.
Well, yeah, apparently Saturday there was because we were going to eat up there and you guys couldn't find a place to sit.
Yeah, there was no place to sit. We walked around for probably a good 10 minutes and we're like, nope, we're just going to sit down on the floor by the game, we're going to play it. So
right, that was it, but that was midday on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the busiest
Saturday
time
night
of the day.
Right. Saturday night it was open, and Friday night it was open, and
but even Saturday night, it was pretty late before it was easily finding spaces and tables.
Yeah, true.
But and I guess that's one of the downsides of having. I kind of hope they get to expand, because I was looking at other places that Convention Center has, and across the street where the marathon was set up, they have a whole bottom floor that's a lot more. It's carpeted. It's as if the side with the role-playing games room where we were playing Vampire, it was as if they didn't have any walled-in rooms. It was just an open area, carpeted, lower ceiling, so it'd be less echo. I'm like, this would be an awesome place for the tabletop free play. Get it out of the super echo chamber. Get more vendors in, do whatever they want to do on that end. I think they could do an amazing thing with that. But
yeah, I imagine the next time the free play area won't be right beside the vendor area, because that whole area will be vendor.
Yeah. But we'll see. I did notice they put the main theater there, which was an interesting idea as well.
Back in the corner, yeah.
I never ended up going to anything at the main theater, which minus points on my end. I wanted to go to a couple of things, but I don't like lines. F the lines.
Well, there's also the area, like when we came from our hotel, there was, if you looked into the windows, there was all these rooms, like 100, 101, 105, that were not, they weren't huge rooms, but they'd have been great for tabletop type game or RP games.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it just depends on how much the convention actually booked out. If they didn't book out those rooms, they didn't book out.
Well, they were empty the entire weekend. So whatever they were, we weren't using. It was that whole end. Basically, everything south of the free play area in the convention center, was just not used. We didn't use it. Nobody else was using it. It was just unused. They wouldn't even let us. Like I had to wheedle to let my to get Leah access in the door on the 13th Street side, because they let her come in because she had her cane. But
I mean, we even had trouble with the marathon next door getting access delivered, which is its own separate. We probably could have fought a little bit more to get through that, but neither myself nor Leah really wanted to. That was not the hill we wanted to die on, as it were.
yeah, no, it's fine. You guys, I don't blame you for not picking that fight too.
But overall, I would definitely recommend the con. Especially if you're a board game person. If you're not a board game person, this is not the con for you. Obviously.
There was quite a bit of roleplay stuff, but yeah, I mean, if you're only going for roleplay, it's very much half and half.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost lean it's more like 80-20.
I mean, there was a lot of RP vendor, a lot of role-playing book vendors. There were dice vendors. There were,
but there was an overwhelming amount of board games.
There was, I mean, especially compared to a regular PAX, yes.
Yeah.
But like compared to, I think it was as balanced as Gen Con was.
I was surprised there wasn't as many like non-game vendors. I was still expecting like the T-shirt vendors. I was still expecting like
there was 2 of those.
Yeah, but they were few and far between. And they normally get a lot larger representation at the other PAXs. So it was an interesting thing to see. I'm curious to see how they adapt it for next year. I'm curious to see what other comments and critiques of the place were. Since I only have your and my perspective on what we did for the survey, basically, which we both had the same encounter, as it were. So
I have to imagine that the den noise in the expo hall and free play area has to be top of the list of people's complaints.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so, it was so freaking loud in that area.
But I'm looking forward to next year. I'm going to be on the fence. I might consider doing Gen Con and not doing Unplugged. I would like to do Unplugged, but I'm probably going to have to pick one convention and stick to it.
Oof. Gen Con is great, but it is so packed.
Oh, okay. That might win it back to PAX because can't.
I worked at Gen Con, and I mean, even as a vendor getting there early, I mean, the hallways getting in are packed with people.
I mean, that's partially why I don't do Comic-Con. And I've done it once. I can say I've done it. I'm not going back.
It was damn near. There were times, especially on Saturday, I would put it on Comic-Con level packed.
Yeah, okay. Then I might reconsider going to Gen Con. I might go once but I think you went this year, right?
I went this year, and
I think part of the reason this year was it was also the 50th anniversary.
Well, like I said, I can hook you up with CMON. They're always looking for good people to do demos.
I don't work cons anymore.
Yeah,
I've learned that if I work a con, I don't see a con.
Right, but I mean, if you want to see Gen Con to see if it's something you want to attend,
yeah,
why not get paid to be there?
It's true. I don't know.
I mean, they pay for your hotel room and they pay you for your time. All you got to pay is your trip, your flight out.
That's usually the big cost, anyways. Depending on, hotel was big cost for Unplugged this year, but
I was a little surprised that we stayed. Granted, we stayed right behind the convention center, like our hotel room overlooked the docks.
Yeah.
So, but Hampton Inn has super comfy beds.
Yeah,
totally worth the walk.
I slept pretty well, so it wasn't so bad. But I don't know. How
was your Sunday night? How did you sleep?
I was dead. I got back.
You were tossing and turning Saturday, so
I set an alarm for 5:30 when I had to wake up, and I was done. I was just completely out. I slept 7.5 hours. It was glorious. Which I needed it because I had a very long day ahead of me. I didn't end up going to sleep until almost 1 a.m. the next
on Sunday?
So, yeah. Or no, on Monday evening.
Oh, when you got home.
Yeah. Sunday night, I went to bed at like 7, woke up at 5, got on my flight, came home, unpacked, did a bunch of stuff, Went to see my girlfriend, stayed with her. We didn't go to bed until about 1, and then we woke up at 5 to get her to the airport, or 4:30 to get her to the airport. So by the time I've not had a full night's sleep other than that one 7.5 hour stint.
Yeah, I do have to say, the nice thing about Philly is it's an hour and a half. You know, I left at 3 o'clock, stopped and picked up cheesesteak sandwiches for Lee and I, and got home by 5. Cheesesteaks were a little cold, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Still enjoyable. And then, you know, I napped for an hour or so after I put warm cheesesteak in my belly, and then slept for a couple hours. Then got up, watched TV, and watched, you know, Outlander and all that stuff, and then went to bed at a normal time for work on Monday.
Nice.
So yeah, unpacking my suitcase was pretty much just like, because I'd worn just about everything. So
I wore about a third of what I brought with me. I brought layers upon layers just in case. I ended up washing everything, getting all squared away, so that was a little bit better. But yeah, that's unplugged. I got a lot of cool pins. I picked up the shirt. I didn't think I get too much else swag wise. The nice lanyard, a couple of other nifty things.
I got a poster. Oh yeah, right here. Got the Laser Rider poster signed by. I'll lay it flat. Signed by Anthony and Nicole.
Oh, I missed the Nicole signature. God damn it. Oh well.
Yeah, it's really, really. I mean, hers is really freaking tiny.
Yeah.
But
that was a lot of fun. I'm so glad we got to play test the expansion for that. The expansion makes that game.
Yeah, the expansion. If anybody has not played Laser Riser, it's spiritually it is Tron light cycles. You're flying through space and trying to capture gems. The expansion is going to add functions to the gems so that when they're captured, they do different things. And that is making a really big difference in the gameplay.
It had functions and
There was another
new characters, plus another one is in the design phase.
Right. They had 3 new character powers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They haven't got the characters yet, but they have character powers.
Well, they had the characters for those 3 powers. They just didn't have like stands or actual art for them yet.
I don't remember.
It was
yeah.
I had time traveling truckers for mine, which was take 2 pieces back. There was the David Bowie dude that was yours.
Right.
And
what was going to be
rainbow one was a unicorn thing. I don't remember.
Yeah.
He described them at the beginning when he was passing out the powers, but that was the beginning and ending of it. Since he didn't have pictures or stands or art or anything, there's only so much they could do.
Yeah, mine was the is it what Ziggy Stardust kind of inspired?
Yeah.
So, well, you just went robotic.
Hello. Better?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're robotic.
Oh, hold on. Let me. Better?
Nope.
Okay, gonna refresh. 1 sec. Technical difficulties. Boop. Alright, how do I sound now?
Uh-oh, you still sound the same.
Huh,
and your stream, oh yeah, your whole stream just, hang on a sec.
Because you sound fine.
Yeah, let me try something here.
Testing. Yep, I sound fine to me too.
Say something now.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, it's got to be something in my speaker, in my headset.
Aha, okay. And there's an echo.
Okay, can you say something now?
Hello. That's better.
Huh, weird. I turned off the other speaker. But now there's no echo. Now there's no robotic. Okay, well, whatever. That was weird.
Oh, we're learning new things all the time. I don't know if you want to work on or if we can actually go through the downtime stuff, but we might want to save it regardless.
let's say
We're,
it.
we're coming up on an hour and a half now. Other than some minor technical glitches, I think it's gone pretty well so far.
I think we might want to call this one early for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Hour and a half is good for our PAX review. Yeah, I mean, I'm honest. I honestly can say I'm really glad that that it worked out that you came out. They came out to Baltimore and we went together. I don't know that I would have had as much fun without somebody to pal around with pretty constantly.
Yeah.
We had other friends that other people I knew from the local area that you ended up becoming friends with and hanging out with as well. But I liked that we kind of coordinated. We would head over together and we'd head back together, that type of thing. It just I don't know, it just makes the whole thing more fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm prone to kind of flitting around if I'm not with someone, so it kind of helps ground me a little bit if I'm I'm doing stuff with someone. But
and we coordinated doing we did all the badge stuff that you wanted to do to get all your badges, and we did all the stuff we hit the booths that I wanted to hit to get stuff I wanted. So we coordinated stuff easily. I think, but you're right. It gives you a little grounding because otherwise I'd have just roamed around, and I don't know if I would have gotten into as many games as I did.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And final thoughts. PAX Unplugged is a great convention. It was obviously a very first time for them for this venue, so there was a lot of teething on that front. I think they need to work a little bit more with the venue. I think they need to work a little bit more on organizing the locations of things, but I have a feeling they can flesh out a lot of that for next year. And I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I'll get a lot more, playing interesting games with people. Maybe catch Hamish again. That was a lot of fun hanging out with him. Getting my book signed with a nice note about this guy right here. Yeah, that's in a nutshell. I had a blast. I'm looking forward to next year and seeing what new and interesting games come out of it.
I agree. I agree that it was a great convention. While it was very clearly in places a first convention. Things like the queue line where they had to have enforcers standing as stanchions for a temporary rope. There was some plan behind what that was supposed to do. I didn't understand why they put the queue line for getting in all the way. Like you came into the convention center, got to the doors, and then they sent you down this long hall to come back on the long hall.
Yep.
It's like
that. They sent you down the long hall to a big room where you could queue in. And then if you queued in early, you'd be at the front to walk all the way back.
Right. But even when we walked in, 10 minutes after it opened, the line was so sparse that we just stepped under the rope and kept walking with people.
Yeah.
It wasn't wall to wall. It wasn't, it was arbitrarily sitting us on a roundabout for no reason that I could tell.
Yeah.
Maybe at the very beginning, and don't get me wrong, maybe at the very beginning, right at 10, it made sense. And I'll give them that maybe at 10 o'clock there was a huge crush. I thought it was interesting that they didn't open the tabletop area entrance until 10:30.
Yep. I kind of understand that because they didn't want people queuing up to go in that way.
Right.
Which, if they have a ton of people queuing up to go, that becomes a fire hazard. But even still, kind of finicky. So,
I wonder if they'd left the doors between the play area and the expo hall and left that closed. If that would have cut down the noise.
Maybe.
Because the day when you have the expo hall and I don't know, just a thought I randomly had.
Obviously their goal was to get free flowing between the two, which it worked in that front, so who knows.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I did play one more game. I played Dragoon.
We did play that. That was fun too.
We totally forgot to mention honorable mentions to Dragoon, the Kickstarter version, which was what?
$60?
$70?
It was $70 for the metal pieces, which if you're gonna get the metal pieces because they're awesome.
Oh, they're beautiful. I mean, the platinum is white, silver, and the
gold is gold.
The gold is gold.
Probably leaf, but still, it's pretty.
Yeah, and then the copper is beautiful copper, and I don't remember what the black one was. Something
black metal.
But yeah, Yeah, that is a fun little game with 4 dragons. Basically, I and the person that had the stronghold closest to me basically just kept leveling the area, all the villages, and just destroying them. So we lost.
But it's also one of those games expect to hate your opponents after the game. Because there's a lot of, oh, you got some points? I've got your points now. It happens throughout the game. So just expect that.
Gold is points, and you can steal gold from each other. So, yeah. There was a point, we were playing to 10. We were testing out playing to 10. Normal game goes to 40? 50?
Yep.
We were playing to 10. It was almost midnight. We wanted to get a taste of the game. My friend from Virginia, Jenny and Chip. Jenny had done the research. She was teaching us the game. And so we were playing to 10 to get a feel for it. Game is fun, but I got all the way up to like 8, and then I was at 2 when the game ended. Chip got all the way to... No, Chip... You got all the way to 9.
I won.
No, Chip got all the way to 9 and got knocked back down.
Yeah, because I stole all of his gold, and then I had one other thing that inched me over, and that's how I won. Yeah, it's a fun game.
I just wish I wish the metal pieces weren't $70.
Yep. By Cat Lady.
Yes, by Cat. Dice Throne. Nate Chandelier, I think is his last name. They're already working on expansion characters. They're going to do a standalone expansion with another 6 characters that'll be interchangeable. I don't know if there'll be a huge 6v6 version. I can imagine it. It's going to be a long game.
Yeah. I already own the game, but I played I watched people play Burger Brothers. I talked to the developer. I talked to the artist. Fantastic people. Buy that game. I
learned it. I'm planning. It's on my list to pick up. Again, by the time we found it, I was kind of over my budget. I'd already bought one extra game.
Yeah.
Being Dice Throne. That was kind of above and beyond. Like, I was right at the edge of, am I over my budget? And then when I bought that, I'm like, I'm definitely over my budget.
And then honorable mention to a game you brought, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
Absolutely. Yes. And we had a lot of questions about it. We were playing in the lobby of the hotel. We have at least a half a dozen or a dozen people stop to ask about it.
Oh, yeah. That's why we ended up putting the box stand up so people would see
we had to see the box. People were like, what are you playing?
Very pretty variant of Betrayal at House on the Hill. Also worthwhile.
A lot. For me, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate has a lot brighter colors.
Yeah.
And a lot less muted colors. It just makes it a lot more fun.
A lot more interesting theme. Their only minus point is blue doors, gray background, bad plan.
Blue glow around the doors on a gray background. Hard to see.
Yeah.
The whole door had been blue, it would have been a different story.
But yeah, next year, go to PAX, Unplugged, skip south, skip west, maybe go to east. But Unplugged was amazing. I will definitely be trying to go again if I don't go to Gen Con. And yeah.
Even if I go to Gen Con, I'll probably end up working Gen Con because, well, it's, $100 a day or whatever. So
yeah. We're probably going to be skipping next week and playing the week after, in theory. I'm going to talk to the players and see what they say. Probably most people will be recovering from the largest dinner they'll have had in 9 months, basically, tomorrow. So we shall see about that. It's going to be a very boring day for me. 8 hours at work, 8 hours of sleep, and then 16 hours of work following. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm going to be doing a lot of staring at space.
Well, it makes you feel any better. I'll be doing 16 hours of gaming on Friday for charity.
That doesn't make me feel any better. Because I'd rather be doing 16 hours of gaming.
I'm running Sentinels. I'm taking... You know what? I might even take Sprawl with me. See if I can get a Sprawl game.
It's easy to teach. I mean, I would take the... He's got good stuff for the downtown data heist. Take that. I have copies of it too. It's also pick up for free on drive-thru.
Okay, I will pick it up for free.
And I think if you look on either his Twitter or his webpage, he's got the one-shot character sheets that he had for us. It's either that or it's on the Google Plus group. One of those has those one-shots.
Need to join that damn Google Plus group. Yeah. Who was it that was talking about this? Dana.
It was Dana, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. I'll just link you it. I'll link everybody to it because it's awesome. Let's actually link it in Twitch, not in I almost linked it in Roll20, which we're not even using.
What the hell is... Sorry.
That should be in the old post page. But yeah. Had a blast. Looking forward to next year. Looking forward to 2 weeks from now when we play. Please come by, join us. We will be doing the downtime missions and